Those are the real problems here, and the real issue here is that we have not been given, and we have not had an honest discussion in our media and in our community about this, where all the facts are disclosed. What we've had is this manipulated press, where the stories have been kind of, and not so much on radio, but typically.
Thank you, Mayor Brewer.
Let me just go to my point about the plain dealer.
I'll let you step back from that.
Yes. I know, Dan, you've done a great job in keeping us all.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
But what we've had from the plain dealer, think about Mark Namick's column, basically asking telling their readers that the committee needed money. And then the next day, there's this pledge from the Greater Cleveland Roundtable, a partnership.
Greater Cleveland Partnership, which provided money for the signature gathering.
Which also Terry Egger, the publisher of the newspaper, is a member.
I want to put the brakes on for a second here.
Addressed.
The big question, though, keeps coming back to this word process. Mayor Zannotti, I think you need to describe the process that you and Bill Mason went through, why it was as secretive or as open doors as it was, why there was the level of sunshine that you gave it.
To suggest that our process was rushed is wrong, and to minimize this 15 years worth of studies that was done on Cuyahoga County government is wrong. The Barber report suggested a single executive and a council. The Bar Association report suggested a single executive and a council. The commission in November suggested a president of a commission and 2 commissioners, and at the end of it suggested that the county look at a charter review and consider the possibility of a single county executive. That was outside their. This process was inclusive. All communities were invited. It was the summation of a variety of work over 15 years, and a group of constituents said, we want to get together and put this issue on the ballot this year. Before any decisions were made, every single constituency was approached and was asked to come to the table. It's one thing to say we weren't included, but it's another thing to be invited to the table, not come to the table, and then say we weren't invited, it wasn't inclusive enough. It's another thing to have been at the table, and then after the issue gets to the ballot, pretend that you weren't at the table. Okay?
Why are those criticisms being leveled at your plan?
Well, because our plan, quite frankly, attacks the establishment. I believe that. No one believed our plan was going to get on the ballot. The whole purpose of what we were trying to do is a group of citizens believe there's a better way to do it. You take that issue, you work it out, you create something for the voters to consider, you take it to the voters and say, do you want to put it on the ballot? 81,000 people said yes, and everyone who signed that petition had the charter attached to it. So if you didn't understand it, the charter was there. Well, and lastly, you get it on the ballot, and then you give the voters the opportunity to vote. And that's the process. That's how democracy works.
Quick question, and this is a final question before we go to questions from the audience. Do you want to be the county executive, Mayor Zannotti?
Absolutely not.
I think a reference was made to me. I really want to respond.
30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. I think Marty was referring to me when he said people who came to the table and then claimed later they weren't included. I was invited to that table by Congresswoman Marcia Fudge, not by the group that was meeting. And I participated in the 11th hour. They were very open to suggestions, but they were, and the process, what they came up with may not have been rushed, but they were rushing to the ballot. It was a big hurry to get the signatures so that they could be on this November's ballot. And one of the things we first said was, why the rush? Why does it have to be this November? It has to be this November because the corruption will drive voters to the polls. And that's not the kind of process that we need to be using to arrive at a new form of county government if we're going to get a new form of government. That is not appropriate, and it isn't going to result in a good product.
But you don't agree with the White House Chief of Staff that you shouldn't waste a good crisis?
Well,
and briefly on the process.
Hold on, Rob Frost. Hold on. We're going to take a short break for traditional City Club announcements. President Jan Roller.
Thank you. Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a panel discussion on Cuyahoga County government reform, sponsored by the Cleveland Leadership Center and the Young Democrats and Republicans Club. Our panel features Harriet Applegate, Executive Secretary of the North Shore AFL-CIO, Eric Brewer, Mayor of East Cleveland, Rob Frost, Chairman of the Cuyahoga County Republican Party, and Martin Zannotti, Mayor of Parma Heights. And our panel is moderated by Dan Moulthrop, host of WCPN's Sound of Ideas. We will return to our speakers in a minute for the traditional City Club questions. We encourage you to formulate questions for our speakers now and remind you that your questions should be brief and to the point. We welcome all of you here, and those listening to WCPN 90.3 FM, WCLV, WTAM, or one of the many radio stations across the country. Radio broadcasts of the City Club are made possible through the generous support of Case Western Reserve University. Our television broadcast partners are WVIZ, PBS Idea Stream, and Time Warner Cable. Television broadcasts are supported by National City, now a part of PNC, and Cleveland State University. Closed captioning is supported by Nordstrom Corporation. Our live webcasts are supported by the University of Akron. On Thursday, August 27th, candidates from Cleveland's Ward 14 will kick off debate season here at the City Club. August 28th, Secretary of State Jennifer Brunner will take the podium to discuss her work in Ohio. The debates will continue next week as candidates for Cleveland's Ward 2 square off Tuesday, September 1st, and all 5 mayoral candidates debate on September 2nd. If you wish to make reservations or order a CD or a DVD of today's program, please call 1-888-223-6786 or 216-621-0082. Today we are pleased to welcome guests at tables hosted by Cleveland AFL-CIO Retiree Council, Cleveland Social Venture Partners, and the Greater Cleveland Partnership. Also, the North Shore AFL-CIO and Jan Purdy. Thank you for your support. Now, we would like to return to our speakers for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphone today is Director of Development, Jessica Leary Allen, and Education and Outreach Coordinator, Deborah Agasti. Now, first question, please.
It seems that everyone has their different ideas for as far as county reform, but I think the main issue that people is concerned, I know what me myself is, how can we raise the median income for the entire region? And also, how can we do, what is county reform going to do for our workforce development, for us helping people here?
Thank you very much for the question. Mayor Zannotti, do you want to take that first, and then we'll hear from Harriet Applegate?
I'm going to guess that Harriet and I are in complete agreement on this. Whatever reform, we need to create more meaningful, sustainable jobs in Cuyahoga County. We need to create more opportunities for all, regardless of where you stand on a reform or the reform plan. I mean, that is a critical issue that has to be addressed. We've got to stem the tide of lost jobs in this county. We don't have enough economic opportunities for all the constituencies, so whether you support Plan A or Plan B, what's critical is that you force whatever plans, whatever leaders in the future to focus more on economic development.
I think I would say I would agree with Marty on that, and I want to go one step further. I think that Cleveland can be the green comeback industrial city. We've got tremendous assets and tremendous opportunities. We've got Case Western, who's doing research. We've got Tri-C, and who's training people for new green jobs. We have the research and development people. We have the skilled workforce. We've got tremendous opportunities. We have to get our ducks in a row. I think actually I'll give kudos to Prosecutor Bill Mason. He's under the auspices of the current county system has developed this wind turbine great committee, which has made tremendous progress in putting this together. We have a terrific industrial future ahead of us, and I think all of us can agree that if we stick together and work at it, we can come back as a great industrial center within the next 10, 15 years.
And a charter review process will get us there.
I think the key thing is working together and being smart and strategic, and I think there are several ways to go about that in terms of structure of government. We have been making some progress in that specific arena so far. I think the structure of government does make a difference. We'll have to, I think the new, it's hard to say, Marty.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't
Cuyahoga.
You
only
heard me say it once because I stumble on it all the time. So.
I think their commitment to economic development is laudable, and I will say that we took a leaf from your book. Our commission, one of our 5 pledges is to come up with a structure that would facilitate economic development. We specifically mentioned economic development.